Registration is closed. Registration is closed. We'll get the track cleared off and get everything ready for our parade lap here in just a minute. Alrighty, if I can have everybody please rise and remove your ball caps. Please face the south end of the arena as we begin our parade lap and our national anthem. We'll get our track cleared here and we'll open up the track for our strider practice here in just a moment. Motos have been posted. Motos have been posted, so please check those out. Make sure all the plate numbers and proficiencies are correct. Any corrections, get those to registration. We'll have corrections open for the next 5 minutes. Motos have been posted. right, getting our balance bikers staged up. We'll get these guys rolling here.
Jeremy Prince to registration, please. Jeremy Prince to registration. Jaden Zakovich to registration or parent representative. Jaden Zakovich to registration or parent representative.
All right, getting our 4-year-old balance bikers off to a start. We got two of these guys, Beecher and Logan. They come out of that corner down that last straightaway. Looks like the 749, that's got to be Logan out front with Beecher right behind her. So Logan's going to take that one. Beecher with the 2 out of our 4-year-old balance bikers. Up next, Moto 2, our 3-year-olds. We got 9 of these guys, 2 racks. We're going to take 2 of these guys straight onto the main event. Got Trimer, Ling, Evans, Brady, and Clark. Gate drops. These guys are off to a nice battle going into that first corner. I can't believe they stayed up. That was amazing. As they come down that last straightaway, these 3-year-olds came to put on a show this afternoon. We got the 323, that's Trimer, out on point with the 586 on his hip pocket, but Trimer's going to take that first transfer, and Ling going to take that second transfer. Out of Moto number 2, our first rack of balance bikers here. Those guys are going to go on to the main event. Got our second rack of 3-year-olds in the gate right now. We're going to take 2 of these guys onto the main event. We got Orvis, Janek, Yavedage, Skalicki. It's hard to read sometimes. If I mispronounce anybody's last name, you guys can please let me know. I apologize. All right, that gate drops on this second rack as they battle into that first corner. Nice single file line. Making their way down that last straightaway. Looks like the 252, that's Jokovic, out on point with that 166. Jednik in that 2 spot, so it's going to be Jokovic with that first transfer and Jednik with that second transfer out of our second rack of 3-year-old balance bikers. Got our last rack of balance bikers getting loaded into the gate right now. 7 of these riders made it out on this Saturday afternoon. Got Swarzwick, Weineck, Martin, Record, Melanson, Sawyer, and Ike. Nice battle as the gate drops. Going into that first corner. There's side by side. Remember to make sure all of our parents stay behind the red bales there, please. Strider parents behind the red bales as they make their way down that last straightaway. Looks like the 728 bike out on point. That's Martin. He's going to take that first transfer in the 860 of Swarzwick. We need to get this guy the plate's checked out. He's got red letters on there. Should be black letters. So the Swarwick and Martin taking the 2 transfers. Can we get a Swarwick parent to the finish line, please? Getting our last rider, a little help down this last straightaway. All right, we'll get these guys loaded back up for our second round. Thanks, Larry. Gate drops on round 2 for our 4-year-old balance bikers. Total points for these 2 as they come down, making their way down that last straightaway. They're neck and neck. Looks like Beecher's going to take over that lead spot. But Loken's not giving up. She's going to battle all the way down to that finish line. It's anybody's race. Oh. We're going to go with Beecher, who's going to take that 1 this round. Loken's going to get that 2. So they're going to be tied up for points going into that main event. That's going to be extra exciting. All right, we're going to get our 3-year-olds balance bikers loaded up. We're going to have motos 2 and 3 combined this round. So both of them, 2 racks combined. We're going to take the top 4 to the main event. The nice battle going into that first corner. They start to single file line it up going into that last straightaway. That's gotta be the 865 bike of Evans, gonna take that first transfer. The 204 gonna take that second transfer. The 594 and the 219 with those last transfers. So in no particular order, it'll be Evans, Brady, Clark, and Salicki with those 4 transfers out of our 4-year-old balance bikers. All right, getting our 2-year-olds loaded up here. We're going to take 4 of these guys battling for those last gate picks. We should have Weiland record Mellinson, Sawyer, and Ike. Looks like Mellinson in the lead as they go into that first corner. Nice battle for 2 and 3. Making their way down that last straightaway. Oh, Mellinson stopping, checking out the scenery. Oh. That's the 836 bike. Gonna take that first. That's Sawyer. Oh, we got one taking a little detour off the track there. Skipping a couple obstacles. The 848 gonna get that second transfer. Wineland there. The 117. Ike, not sure if she wants to continue her race or not, but Melanton, she's coming on over that tabletop, smiling at Mom. Yeah. All right, main event time for our balance bikers. Gate drops on these 4-year-olds. We've got Beecher and Locken. Nice battle all day long from these two. Looks like Bleacher out on point, Locken not giving up. They're going to be neck and neck as they make their way down this last straightaway. Looks like Beecher's out on point, locking in that hip pocket. So Beecher's going to take the 1 in the overall 1 today, locking with that 2 in the overall 2 on our 4-year-old balance bikers. All right, getting a little paperwork figured out, getting our 3-year-olds locked and loaded for their main event. 9 of these guys coming here on this Saturday afternoon, so we had to dwindle it down to the fastest 8. So I remind all of our Strider parents to please stay behind the red barricades. I'm going to keep all of our Strider parents behind the red barricade, please. Gate drops on these 3-year-olds as they battle it out into that first corner. Nice battle for 1 and 2 as they make their way in. Hard to see these little plates from all the way over here. But they are nice battle for 1, 2, and 3. Looks like the 204 is out on point. Followed up by the 323. Oh, the 863 sweeping in. The 323 with the 3. All right. So we have the 204 with that 1, the 863 with the 2, and the 323 with that 3 out of our 3-year-old balance bikers. Getting our last rack all loaded up here. 7 of these 2-year-olds. All right, letting these 2-year-olds get their gate picks. This takes a little time. Gate drops on the main event for these 2-year-olds. Nice battle for 1 and 2 going into that first corner. Nice single file line as they come out of that corner down that last straightaway. Looks like the 727 out on point. That's record in that lead spot. The 860 by Swarwick in that 2 spot. And the 836, that's Sawyer with that 3 spot. Can we get a parent representative of Tatum Swarwick to the scoring tower, please? A parent representative of Tatum Swarwick to... Perfect, thank you. That'll do it for our Strider Racing today. Listen up, this will be your riders meeting. Got Moto 5 open the gate, our 6 and under open. 3 of these riders going to have total points today. Olson, free tag, Cordell. Gate drops on these little guys. Looks like Cordell off to a nice lead as he goes into that first corner. Got to be free tag in that My Jungle Gym colors in that 2 spot, followed up by Olson in that 3. They make their way down that second straightaway. But it is Crank Lab out on point, followed up by My Factory My Jungle Gym free tag in that 2 spot. Nice and spread out as they make their way down that last straightaway. But it's going to go Cordell with that 1, free tag with the 2, Olson with that 3 out of our 6 and under mixed open. Moto 6, our 7-8 mixed open out on the track. We've got Elvin, Peterson, Beard, and Lakeberg. That is Fusion Colors out on point. Got to be No Boo Boo leading the way. Prodigy, got to be Lakeberg in that 2 spot, taking 2 of these riders straight to the main event. So it's going to be Elvin with the first transfer, Lakeberg with that second transfer. Out of Moto 6, Moto 7, 11, 12 mixed open. We've got Kriegler, Ray, Cordell, Brotzel. Level up colors got to be Miss Annalise Ray out on point, followed up by Brotzel and Fusion in that 2 spot. 2 of these riders going down to the main event, so it'll be Ray with that first transfer, Brotzel with the second transfer. Out of Moto 7, 15, 16 mixed open. 3 of these riders, Melanson, Beard, and Swaggart. That's got to be Marky Mark out on point for Black Sheep Racing, followed up by the Firecracker in that 2 spot, Melanson in that 3. These guys will have total points, so they'll be racing all 3 rounds. Marky Mark's going to take that 1, Swaggart with the 2, Melanson with that 3. Out of Moto 8, Moto 9, 13, 14 open. 6 of these riders, we've got Lockett, Melchert, Molinter, Stopka, Melch, and Bell Richard. That's got to be Lockett out on point. Followed up by Crank Lab colors. That's the 82. That's got to be Mitchell, and I think Melchert with that 3. Out of Moto 9, 13, 14 open. Moto 10 out on the track, 36, 40 women cruiser. We've got Stokel, Lee, Krigler, Farley, and Farley. A nice array of age groups for this rack here. That's got to be Alma Smiley Stokel out on point. We got America Farley making a move, debuting her nice new Factory Carbone jersey today, followed up by Mama Farley in that 3 spot. But it'll be Stokel and Amelia Farley with those 2 transfers. Moto 11 out on the track. We've got our 9-year-old cruisers. Another total point race. Melanson, Ray, and Peterson. Level up colors out on point. That's Mr. Ray, followed up by Style Check Peterson in that 2 spot. Melanson going to take the 3 out of our 9-year-old cruisers. 17-20 cruiser out on the track. We've got Bauman, Kennedy, Norberg, and Vanderhayden. Another wide age group class here. That's Atomic Kennedy out on point, followed up by Norberg in that 2 spot. 2 of these riders going straight to the main event. They're nice single file line making their way down that last straightaway, but it's going to be the National Age Group 9 by Kennedy with that first transfer. Norberg with that second transfer out of Moto 12. 5 and under novice out on the track today. We got 7 of these little guys making their way out. We got our beginner leaguers debuting on their first race today. They practice all morning. Going to put those skills to the test now. Is that we got Locken, the 078 bike with a nice breakaway there with that lead spot, the 251 in that 2 spot. That's Brady, and the 811. Oh, that's 877 of Sorensen in that 3 spot as they make their way down that third straightaway there. Taking 3 of these riders, so it's going to be lock-in with that first transfer. The Crusher Brady going to take that second transfer. And one of our beginner league riders, Sorensen, going to take that third and final transfer out of our 5 and under novices. Moto 14, 6 novice. We've got Olson, Leaf, and Breed. Or Beard. Why did I say that? That's the 506 Olson out on point, followed up by Leaf in that 2 spot. Not Stop and Beard in that 3. They're coming down that last straightaway, and it's Olson, the nice lead. He's going to take that first. Nice battle for 2 and 3 as they come over that tabletop, but it's going to be Leaf with that 2, Beard with the 3 out of our 6-year-old novices. Got our 8-year-old novices up in the gate, getting them all situated here. Again, we've got our beginner leaguers with their first race on this Saturday afternoon. Gate drops on these 8-year-olds as they come over that first couple obstacles. Nice battle for 1 and 2 going down that first straightaway. They come into that first corner. As soon as I see some nameplates, I can read off names here. That looks like the 721 bike. That's Kersley out on the lead. Oh, I was wondering what was going on there. All right. Here we go. As they come down that last straightaway, we're taking 2 of these riders straight to the main event. So the 721 of Kersley going to take that first transfer. The 177 of Loma going to take that second transfer out of our 8-year-old novices. 10-year-old novices out on the track. Moto 16, we've got Lero, McDonough, Koloff, and Record. That's the 168 out on point. That's got to be Lero, followed up by the 871 of Koloff in that 2 spot. 2 of these riders going straight on to the main event. But it's the Logan Soros with that nice lead. He's going to take that first transfer, followed up by Koloff in that with that second transfer out of our 10-year-old novice. 11 novice out on the track, Moto 17, total points. All of these riders beginner leaguers, so you'll see them all 3 rounds today. We got the 835 bike of Schneider out on point, followed up by the 864 of Bleckner in that 2 spot. Feast in that 3. They're nice and spread out as they make their way into that third corner, coming down that last straightaway. Snyder's with a nice breakaway. He's going to take that 1. Bleekner going to take that 2. And Feast with the 3 out of our 11-year-old novices. 12-year-old novices out on the track. We've got 4 of these riders, 2 of them going straight to the main event. We've got Hazelton out on point, followed up by the 876 bike of Martin as they make their way down that last straightaway. Hazelton going to get that first transfer. Nice battle for 2 and 3, but it's the 876 of Martin with that second transfer out of Moto 18. Moto 19 out on the track. 13-year-old novices. We've got Phillips, Botchner, Olson, and Evans. The 530 bike of Olson out on point, followed up by the 791 of Phillips in that 2 spot. Taking 2 of these riders to the main event. Oh, so 530, that's Olson going to take that first transfer. Phillips with that second transfer out of our 13-year-old novices. Moto 20, 36, 40-year-old novices out on the track. We've got Loma, Austin, and Lee. Another total point race for these guys. That's Austin out on point, followed up by Bent Rim Colors of Lee in that 2 spot. Luma in that 3, another one of our beginner league riders out there. It's nice to see some of these parents join in some of these events with their kids. So Austin's going to take that 1, Lee with that 2, Loma with a 3 out of our 36 to 40-year-old novice. Moto 21-6 intermediate for these guys making it out here today. We've got Crawl, Freetag, Peterson, and Cordell. Crank Lab colors out on point. That's got to be Cordell, followed up by the 178 bike. Freetag in that 2 spot. Crawl in that 3. As they make their way into that 3rd corner, taking 2 of these guys straight to the main event. They are nice single file line as they make their way down that last straightaway. So it's going to be Cordell with that 1st transfer, Freetag with that 2nd transfer out of our 6-year-old intermediates. 7 intermediate, Moto 22, we've got Simon, Peterson, Bogman. Nice battle for 1 and 2. It's the 50 bike. Peterson taking over that top spot going into that 2nd corner. Simon right in his hip pocket, just waiting to make his move as they make their way out of that last corner, going down that last straightaway. But it is BMX Bandit colors out on point. Lars with that 1, Simon with the 2, Bauman with that 3 out of our 7-year-old intermediates. Moto 23, 8 inners. We've got Beard, Elvin, Mellinson, Brady, and Ford. That's got to be Mellinson out on point, followed up by the Gold Cup 3 bike, Elvin in that 2 spot. 2 of these riders going straight to the main event. And that will be Mellinson and Elvin with those 2 transfers out of our 8-year-old intermediates. 36 to 40 intermediates out on the track. We've got Norberg, Farley, Mellinson, Kennedy, and Robinson. That's got to be the Flying Donut, Alex Robinson out on point, followed up by the 10 bike. That's Adam Kennedy with those 2 transfers out of Moto 24. Moto 25, 41 to 45 intermediates out on the track. Bell Richard, Beard, Oberg. That's Marky Mark for Black Sheep out on point, followed up by Oberg in that 2 spot. Bell Richard, Bent Rim colors in that 3. As they make their way down that last straightaway, it's Black Sheep out on point. Mark's going to take that 1st transfer. Oberg with the 2. Bell Richard with that 3 out of our 41 to 45 intermediates. Can we get 2nd round back to staging, please? 2nd round. Head back to staging. Moto 26 out on the track. 8 girl experts. We've got Farley, Orrin, Lakeberg. That is Factory Full Tilt Orrin out on point, followed up by Prodigy, Lakeberg in that 2 spot. Farley in that 3. As they make their way down that last straightaway, it's going to go Orrin with the 1, Lakeberg the 2, Farley with that 3 out of our 8 girl. 11 girls out on the track. Moto 27, Cordell, Brotzel, Ray. Level up colors, got to be Ray out on point, followed up by the Gold Cup 2. That's got to be Emma Brotzel in that 2 spot. Cordell in that 3. As they come out of that 3rd corner, it's going to be Ray with that 1, Brotzel with the 2, Cordell with that 3 out of our 11 girl. 13 girl out on the track, Moto 28, we got Swagger, Garski, McCulley, Tollefson, Kriegler. That's Tollefson out on point, followed up by Ameriprise Full Tilt. McCulley in that 2 spot. Garski in that 3. 2 of these riders going straight on to the main event. As they make their way down that last straightaway, it is going to go Tollefson, McCulley with the 2 transfers out of our 13 girl. Moto 29, 9X out on the track. We've got Simon, Peterson, Ostrowski, Stopka, and Ray. 5 of these riders making it out today. BMX Bandit colors out on point. That's got to be Peterson, followed up by Ray for level up in that 2 spot. Looks like Revolution colors got to be Ostrowski in that 3. 2 of these riders going down to the main event, and it's going to go Peterson and Ray with those 2 transfers out of our 9-year-old experts. 10 experts out on the track. Moto 30, we have Brady, Bauman, Albers, Vanderhayden, and Bell Richard. Coming down that second straightaway, it's the national age group number 18, Vanderheyden in that top spot, followed up by Bent Rim Colors. Got to be Bell Richard in that 2, Fusion in that 3. 2 of these riders going to the main event, so that'll be Vanderheyden and Bell Richard out of our 10-year-old experts. Moto 31 out on the track, 13 experts. We got Tyson, Melchert, Hertz, Molter, Wells, and Swanson. Ameriprise full tilt, got to be Tyson out on point, followed up by Melchert in that 2 spot. And Swanson in that 3 spot. Those will be our 3 transfers. So Tyson, Melchert, and Swanson out of our 13-year-old experts. 14-year-old experts, Moto 32, we have Rubisco, Lockinen, and Elin. Looks like Ben Lockinen in that top spot, followed up by Elin in that 2, Rubisco in that 3 as they make their way down that last straightaway. So Lockinen with the 1, Kenny with the 2, Rubisco with that 3 out of our 14-year-old experts. 15X out on the track, Moto 33. Last rack for round 1. We have Henry, Mitchell, Miska, Bowman, Schaefer, and Ford. The 80 bike, that's Cameron Ford out on point, followed up by Jordan Bauman in that 2 spot. That's Angie Henry, one of our beginner league coaches in that 3 spot as they come down that last straightaway, taking 3 of these riders. So Ford, I'm not calling the rest of that. What was that? Looks like Crank Lab Colors off to a nice lead. Once again, that's Cordell. Free tag in that 2 spot as they make their way into that first corner. It's still Cordell leading that way. Free tag in that 2 spot. Olson in that 3 for our 6 and under mixed open. Nice single file line making their way down that last straightaway. It's going to go Cordell with that 1. Free tag with the 2. Olson with the 3. Out of our 6 and under mixed open. Moto 6, 7-8 mixed open out on the track. We got 2 of these riders battling it out for gate picks. That is BMX Bandit Colors. Got to be Peterson in that top spot, followed up by Mooberang Beard for Black Sheep BMX in that 2 spot. Nora Beard, you are needed in the chutes. Nora Beard, you are needed in your chutes. So it's going to go Lars with that 1 and Boomerang Beard with that 2 out of our 7-8 mixed open. 11-12 mixed open. Another 2 riders battling out for gate picks. That's the State 9, got to be Mad Cat Kriegler out on point, followed up by the Gold Cup 3 of Cordell in that 2 spot. Nice and spread out, making their way down that 4th straightaway. It's going to go Kriegler with that first transfer. Cordell with the 2. Out of Moto 7. Moto 8, 15-16 mixed open. Another total point race. We've got Mellinson, Beard, Swagger, Black Sheep BMX, Marky Mark out on point, followed up by Mellinson in that 2 spot. Swagger in that 3. As they come down that last straightaway, it's going to go Mark with the 1, Mellinson with the 2 this round, and Swaggart with that 3 out of our 15-16 mixed open. 13-14 open, Moto 9, we've got Molinter, Stopka, Bell Richard. That is the 29 bike, got to be Little Man Molinter out on point, followed up by Bell Richard in that 2 spot, and the Chrome Dome Stopka in that 3. As they go into that 3rd corner, but Molinter's got a nice breakaway. He's going to get the 1. Bell Richard, the 2. Stopka, the 3 out of our 13-14 open. 36-40 women cruiser. We've got Lee, Krigler, and Farley out there battling for their last gate picks. That's got to be Kim Possible Farley leading the way on that National 99 bike, followed up by Kriegler in that 2. Lee in the 3. Factory Carbone Cartel with that nice lead. Going to take that 1. Kriegler going to take the 2. Lee the 3 out of our 36-40 women cruiser. Moto 11, 9 cruiser. We have Mellinson, Ray, Peterson. That's Style Check Peterson out on point, followed up by Mr. Ray in that 2 spot. Mellinson in that 3. Just how they were in round 1. Oh, so nope, Odin's going to take the 1 this round. Ray, the 2, Mellinson, the 3 out of our 9-year-old cruisers. 17-20 cruiser out on the track. We should have Bauman and Vanderhayden. That is the national age group 5. Got to be the Wild Man out on point, followed up by Bauman in that 2 spot. Battling for their last gate picks. So it's going to go Vanderhayden with the 1, Bauman, the 2 out of Moto 12. Moto 13, up in the gate, our 5 and under novices. We got 4 of these guys battling it out for the last gate picks. Mellinson, Ike, Rearenson, Kriegler. Looks like a nice, someone making moves in corner 1. Got a new, I know, I can't see with that mummy there. So we got the 68 bike out on point, followed up by the 442 taking over on that 2nd spot as they make their way down that 3rd straight. But Mellinson, she has broken away from the rest of the group. She's going to take that 1st transfer spot. Kriegler in that 2nd spot. He's going to take the 2. Looks like the 835 with the 3, Rearenson. And the 773 of Ike with that 4th pick out of our 5 and under novices. 6 novice out on the track. Total point racing for these guys. We got the 506 of Olson out on point, followed up by the 32 of Not Stoppin' Beard in that 2 spot. Leaf in that 3. Say, come into that 4th straightaway. It's going to go Olson with that 1. Beard going to take the 2 this round. Leaf the 3 for our 6-year-old novices. Moto 15, 8 novice. We've got Brusso, Craig, and Lero battling out for them gate picks. Looks like the 841 of Lero out on point, followed up by the 837 of Craig in that 2 spot. Brusso in that 3. Nice and spread out as they make their way into that 3rd corner. It's going to be Lero taking the 1 this round. The 837 of Craig with that 2, and Brusco taking the 3 out of our 8-year-old novices. 10 novice out on the track. We've got 2 of these guys battling out for some gate picks. The 804 out on point. That's got to be McDonough with record in that 2 spot. As they make their way into that 3rd corner. Both beginner leaguers out here. So McDonough going to take the 1 this round, record the 2 out of our 10 novice. Moto 17, 11 novice, we have Feast, Snyder, and Bleckner. It's the 835 bike. That's Schneider out on point, followed up by the 864 of Bleckner in that 2. Feast in the 3. These guys collecting points. The ones with the lowest points in the main event will determine their podium. So Schneider's going to get that 1 in the overall 1. Bleckner going to get the 2 and we're not main event. What am I saying? So Schneider's getting the 1, Bleckner the 2, Feast the 3 out of our 11 novice. 12 novice out on the track. We've got 2 of these guys battling for the last gate picks, Anderson and Blochner. Got our beginner league rider out on point. That's got to be Abel Anderson leading the way. Avocado Blochner in that 2 spot. Anderson's going to take the 1, Blochner the 2 out of our 12-year-old novices. Moto 19, 13 novice out on the track. Another Bochner and Evans out there battling for their gate picks. Looks like the 559. Nice battle as they come out of that 2nd corner. But it looks like the 559 of Bochner, he's going to hold on to that top spot. Evans in that 2 as they come down that last straightaway. But Bochner's going to take that 1 this round. Evans, the 2 out of our 13 novice. Moto 20, 36, 40-year-old novices out there. Another total point race. We've got Loma, Austin, Lee. That's got to be Keegan Austin out on point, followed up by Bent Rim of Lee in that 2 spot. Loma in that 3, representing his beginner league jersey. Nice and spread out as they make their way down that last straightaway. It's going to go Austin with the 1. Lee's going to take that 2, and Loma's going to take that 3 out of our 36, 40-year-old novice. 6 intermediate out on the track. Got 2 of these guys battling for gate picks. We've got Kroll and Peterson. That's got to be Archer Kroll with the 201 bike out on point, followed up by Peterson in that 2 spot. Nice and spread out as they head into that 3rd corner. But it is Kroll out on point, riding from mom and dad out here from Isani, Minnesota. He's going to take the 1. Peterson going to take the 2 for our 6 intermediates. 7 intermediates we've got Simon, Peterson, Ballman. Again, a nice battle for 1 and 2 between Peterson and Simon as they are side by side going down that third straightaway. But Peterson's going to come out on top in that third corner. Simon in that 2. As they come over that tabletop, it's going to go Peterson, Simon, Bauman out of our 7-year-old inners. Moto 23, 8 intermediates. We've got Beard, Brady, and Ford. These guys are all nice and bunched up there. But Ford's going to be in that top spot, followed up by Brady in the 2, Beard in that 3. Making their way down the 4 straight. It's going to go Ford with the 1, Brady with the 2, Beard with that 3 out of our 8 intermediates. 3640 inners out on the track. Moto 24, we should have Norberg, Farley, and Mellinson. That's Fusion Colors out on point. That's got to be Norberg, followed up by Mellinson in that 2 spot. Kim Possible Farley for Factory Carbone in that 3. So it'll go Norberg with the 1, Mellinson with the 2, Farley the 3 out of our 3640 intermediates. Moto 25, 41 to 45 intermediate. Bell Richard, Beer, Oberg. That's Black Sheet Colors leading the way as they come into that second corner. That's got to be Marky Mark. Followed up by Dynasty, Oberg in that 2 spot. Bell Richard in that 3. Nice single file line. As they make their way down that 4 straightaway, it's going to go Beard, Oberg, Bell Richard for our 41-45 intermediates. Our 8-year-old girl out on the track, Moto 26, we've got Farley, Orrin, Lakeberg. That is Orrin leading the way on her National 37 bike, followed up by Lakeberg for Prodigy Racing in that 2 spot. Marika Farley in that 3, riding for Factory Carbone Cartel. So to go Orrin with that 1, Lakeberg the 2, Farley the 3 out of our 8 girl. Moto 27, 11 girl, Cordell, Brotzel, Ray, Level Up Colors. That's Ray out on point, followed up by Brotzel in that 2, Cordell in that 3. They're all single file as they make their way into that third corner. It's going to go Ray with the 1, Brotzel with the 2, Cordell with that 3 out of our 11-year-old girl. 13 girl out on the track. We've got 3 of these riders battling for gate picks. Swagger, Garski, Kriegler. That is Crank Lab. Got to be Brielle Garski leading the way, followed up by Swagger in that 2 spot. Mad Cat Kriegler in that 3. She's moving her way up from intermediate to ride with the experts today. So that'll go Garski with the 1, Swagger with the 2, Kriegler with that 3. Nine-year-old experts, we've got Simon, Ostrich, and Stopka. That's the Chrome Dome. That's got to be Slingshot Stopka leading the way, followed up by Simon in that 2 spot. So it'll go Stopka with the 1, Simon with the 2, Ozrowski with the 3 out of our 9X. 10-year-old experts out on the track, Moto 30. We've got Brady, Bauman, Alpers. Nice battle for 1 and 2 going down that third straightaway. Looks like Crank Lab Colors are going to come away on top. That's got to be Brentley Albers, followed up by Bauman in that 2 spot. Brady in that 3. So it'll go Albers, Bauman, Brady for our 10-year-old experts. Moto 31, 13-year-old experts. We've got Hertz, Oberg, Molter, Wells. Come down that second straightaway, looks like. I'm pretty sure that was Silas Wells that was leading the way there. Followed up by Molenter in that 2 spot. So yeah, it'll go Wells, Molenter, and Hertz. 1, 2, 3 out of our 13X. 14 experts, we've got Robrusco, Lockinen, and Elin. Yeah, I heard that. Something about her brakes. Kenny's on a new bike. Something about her brakes. So, but luckily I know these kids. It looks like Lockinen, he's out on point. Robrusco in his hip pocket, battling out. Kenny E hanging in there with the 3 out of our 14-year-old experts. Oh, yeah, because Kenny used Angie's bike. All right, getting our 15-year-old experts loaded up here. We had a friend borrowed a bike. So we should have Henry, Bowman, and Schaefer all next to each other in the gate there. Gate drops as they, nice battle going down that first straightaway, but it looks like, oh, Schaefer making a move. I think he took over that top spot. Yep, Schaefer's in that top spot. Bowman in that 2. Henry in the 3. As they go down that third straightaway. But his Dingman colors out on point, followed up by Level Up in that 2. Dynasty in the 3. But Bowman taking over the top spot. He's going to get the 1. Schaefer the 2. Henry the 3 out of our 15-year-old experts. And that will do it for our qualifying rounds today. We'll take a few little break, have an intermission. I know we have one move up to do. Announce Miss Ella Cordell got all of her wins, and she's going to be moving up to Girl Expert. Let's give Ella a big old hand here and congratulate her on all of her hard work. All right, we'll come on up here. So now you want to have it down low or up high so everybody can see all of your sponsors. So we'll look at Sam first. All right, and then we'll look at Mom. All right, and then also our camera. Let's give them a nice wave for everybody watching at home. All right, and a big congratulations, girl. Congrats on all your hard work. We will need 3 volunteers to help out on our ticket crew. We're looking for 3 volunteers to help out on our ticket crew for our main event today.
Like the little strider thing?
1. So we need 2 more volunteers. Hey, expert riders, remember during intermission, it's first and second straight only. This is your one and final warning. First and second straight only. Do not abuse this privilege. We need one more volunteer for our ticket crew, and then we can get our main event started. One more volunteer for that ticket crew. We can go ahead and start staging them up. We'll get these riders staged up while we look for our last volunteer for our ticket crew. So yeah, just go down right over there with them. All right, we got all of our ticket crew. We'll get our track cleared off and get ready for our main event. Just want to remind folks we will be running main moto numbers. You can find those on our live moto page at rumriverbmx.com. we'll get main event started on this Saturday afternoon. Starting her off with our Moto 4 6 and under mixed open. We've got Olsen, Freetag, and Cordell. These guys have been battling out all 3 rounds, so looks like Cordell in that top spot coming out of that first corner. Those crank lab colors followed up by Freetag in his hip pocket. Olsen in that 3. Cordell sitting on a couple pair of aces coming into this main event. Freetag not letting that stop him. He's trying to make some moves. They come down that last straightaway, but it's going to go Cordell with the 1 and the overall 1. Freetag with that 2 and overall 2, and Olsen with that 3. Out of our 6 and under mixed open. 7-8 mixed open. Elvin, Lakeberg, Peterson, Beard. Gold Cup 3, that's Elvin. Out on point, followed up by the National A Group 10, Lakeberg for Prodigy Racing in that 2 spot. Peterson for BMX Bandits in that 3. Making their way down that 4th straightaway, it's going to go Elvin with the 1, Lakeberg with the 2, Pearson with that 3. Out of 7-8 mixed open. 11-12 mixed open out on the track, Moto 6. We've got Ray, Bratzo, Kriegler, Cordell. Level up, got to be Annalise Ray out on point, followed up by Kriegler in that 2 spot. Bratzo in the 3. Going into that 3rd corner, Bratzo trying to move, but it doesn't quite stick. So Ray's going to take that 1, Kriegler the 2, Bratzel the 3 out of our 11-12 mixed open. 15-16 mixed open, Moto 7, we've got Mellinson, Beard, Swagger. Got to be Marky Mark out on point where he's been all day with a couple of aces in his pocket. Mellinson, Swagger tied up with 5 points apiece as they make their way into that 3rd corner. But it's BMX Black Sheep, Marky Mark. He's going to take that 1 overall 1. Mellinson with the 2 overall 2, and Swaggart with that 3 out of our 15-16 mixed open. Moto 8, 13-14 open out on the track. We've got Lockinen, Melchert, Mullinter, Bell Richard, Stopka, and Metchel. That is Lockinen out on point. He's going to take the 1. I think that was Melchert with the 2. And Metchel with that 3 out of our 13-14 open. Moto 9, 36-40 women cruiser. We have Stokel, Marika Farley, Possible Farley, Kriegler, and Lee. Level up, National 61, that's Alma Stokel out on point, followed up by Kim Possible in that 2 spot. Marika Farley in that 3. Nice and spread out as they make their way into that 3rd corner, but Alma Stokel going to take that 1. Kim Farley going to take the 2. Amelia Farley with the 3 out of our 36-40 women cruiser. Moto 10, 9 cruiser out on the track. We've got Mellinson, Ray, Peterson. Peterson's going to take the 1 overall 1. Ray the 2 and the overall 2. And Mellinson with that 3. And our 9-year-old cruisers. 17-20 cruiser out on the track, Moto 11. We've got Kennedy, Noberg, Vanderhayden, and Boffman. Sorry, I just realized I've been pronouncing that last name wrong this whole time. It's Boffman. So we've got Kennedy. He's out on point, one of our beginner league coaches out there with his jersey on, followed up by Fusion in that 2. That's Norberg. So Kennedy with the 1, Norberg with the 2. That's Vanderhayden with the 3, and Boffman with that 4 out of our 17-20 cruiser. Moto 12, 5 and under novices locked and loaded in the gate. We've got Locken, Brady, Sorensen, Mellinson, Kriegler, Rearenson, and Ike. That looks like Mellinson with a nice lead going into that 1st corner. It is a little difficult to see around this giant mummy, folks. Sorry. So, yeah, we got the 68 bike of Mellinson in that top spot. Lockinen in that 2. That's got to be Sorensen in that 3 with that beginner league jersey. As they make their way into that third corner. Nice battle for 1 and 2. Lockinen not giving up. It is anybody's game here. But it's going to go Mellinson with the 1, Lockinen with that 2, and Sorensen with the 3 out of our 5 and under novice. These little guys sure know how to put on an event, that's for sure. Moto 13, 6 novice. We've got Olson, Leaf, and Beard. Got Olson with 2 points coming into this main event. And we've got Leaf and Beard tied up with 5 points. So how they cross is how they're going to finish. We're losing one in that first corner. We're going to get him checked out. Olson and Beard, 1 and 2, coming out of that second corner. We got Leaf getting checked out in that first corner there. Gonna make sure he's all right. But it's going to go Olson with that 1, an overall 1, and Beard with the 2 and the overall 2. Leaf's going to take that 3 out of our 6-year-old novices. Downrider up and on his bike. Let's give him a nice round of applause. It's one of our beginner league riders out there. This is his first race ever, first main event. I'm sure it's not how he wanted to end his day. Just show him some support as he comes around that last straightaway. Back to the gate, we got our 8-year-old novices locked in there. We got Kersley, Loma, Lero, Craig, and Brusso. Bunch of beginner leaguers out there. Nice battle, 1 and 2. Looks like the 721 out on point. That's got to be Kersley, followed up by Loma in that 2 spot. Lero in that 3. Nice and spread out, single file line, making their way into that 4th straight. But it is Kersley out on point. He's going to take that 1. And the overall 1. Oh, nope. And Loma's going to get the 2. Lero with that 3 out of our 8 novices. Moto 15, 10 novice out on the track. We've got Lero, Cloth, McDonough, Record. That's the 168 bike out on point. That's got to be Lero, followed up by the 871 of Cloth in that 2 spot. Cloth making a nice battle for, it's going to go Lero with the 1, Cloth with the 2, and Record with that 3 out of our 10 novice. 11 novice out on the track, Moto 16. We have Fish, Snyder, and Bleckner. That's got to be the 835 bike of Lane Schneider out on point. He's got 2 aces going into this main event. Followed up by Bleckner in that 2 spot. Feast in the 3, all spread out as they make their way into the last straightaway. So it's going to go Schneider with that 1, and he's going to get the 1 today. Bleckner's going to finish in the 2 with the 2 today, and Feast with that 3, an overall 3 out of our 11-year-old novices. 12 novice out on the track, Moto 17. We've got Hazelton, Martin, Anderson, and Blockner. That is the 79 bike. Got to be Hazelton out on point. Looks like that's got to be Anderson making a move for that, taking over that 2nd spot in that 2nd corner. Followed up by Martin in that 3 spot. Coming down that 4th straightaway, it's going to go Hazelton with that 1. Anderson with the 2. And Martin with that 3 out of Moto 17. Moto 18, 13 novice out on the track. We've got Olson, Phillips, Blockner, and Evans. Looks like the 530 bike out on point, followed up by the 791. But we've got Evans trying to make a move in that 3 spot. They come down that last straightaway. It's going to go Olson with that 1, Phillips with the 2. Oh, Evans going to get that 3. We're going to get Botchler checked out. Oh, he's up. Let's give him a nice round of applause. He put in that effort trying to get that, make that move there. Moto 19 or 3640 novices out on the track. We've got Loma, Austin, and Lee. These guys have had total points all day. It's Austin out on point where he's been. Lee in that 2 for bent rim. And Loma for the beginners leagues out in that 3 spot. So Austin will get the 1 and overall 1. Lee with that 2 and overall 2. And Loma with that 3 and overall 3 for our 36 40-year-old novices. Moto 20. 6 intermediates. We've got Cordell, Freetag, Crawl, and Peterson. They make their way down that second straightaway. That is Crank Lab's got to be Cordell out on point, followed up by Freetag in that 2 spot. Crawl in that 3. Nice single file line as they go into that third corner. They're going to finish Cordell with that 1, Freetag with the 2, Crawl with that 3 out of our 6-year-old intermediates. 7 intermediates out on the track. Moto 21, Simon, Peterson, and Boffman. BMX Bandit colors out on point got to be Peterson, followed up by Simon for Dynasty in that 2 spot. Boffman in that 3. Making their way down that 4th straight. It's going to go Peterson with the 1, Simon with the 2, Boffman with that 3 out of our 7 intermediates. Moto 22, 8 intermediates out on the track. We've got Mellinson, Elvin, Ford, Brady, and Beard. That's Mellinson out on point, followed up by Elvin in that 2 spot, Ford in that 3. Single file line going into that third corner. Down that last straightaway, it's going to go Mellinson with the 1, Elvin with the 2, Ford with the 3 in our 8 intermediates. 36 to 40 intermediate out on the track. Moto 23, Robinson, Kennedy, Norberg, Mellinson, and Farley. That's got to be the Flying Donut Robinson out on point, followed up by Atomic Kennedy in that 2 spot. Fusion Colors, Norberg in that 3. These boys make it way. It's going to go Robinson with the 1, Kennedy with that 2. Norberg with the 3 out of Moto 23. Moto 24, 41 to 45 intermediates. We've got Bell Richard, Beer, Oberg. That's Marky Mark for Black Sheep out on point, followed up by Dynasty. Got to be Oberg in that 2 spot. Bell Richard in that 3, riding for Bent Rim. So they're going to go Mark with the 1, Oberg with that 2, Bell Richard with the 3 out of our 41-45 intermediate. Welcome to the Girls Club. We've got our 8 girl experts out on the track. Farley, Orrin, Lakeberg. That's Factory Full Tilt out on point. National 37 bike. Got to be Orrin, followed up by Prodigy, Lakeberg for our NAG 10 bike. In that 2 spot, Marika Farley in that 3, representing that Cartel Carbone. So Orrin with the 1, Lakeberg going to take the 2, and Farley with the 3 out of our 8 girl. Moto 2611 girl, Cordell, Brotzel, Ray. Level Up colors out on point. Got to be Annalise Ray, followed up by Fusion, Emma Brotzel in that 2 spot. Ella Cordell getting her expert girl move-up plaque today. She's in that 3 spot. As they make their way down that 4th straightaway, it's going to go Ray with the 1, Brotzel with the 2, Cordell with that 3 out of our 11 experts. Moto 2713X out on the track. We've got Tollefson, McCulley, Garcia, Swaggart, Kriegler. That's little JT Tollefson out on point, followed up by Little Red McCulley for Ameriprise Full Tilt in that 2 spot. Garski for Crank Lab in that 3. Come down that 4th straightaway. It's going to go Tollefson with the 1, McCulley with the 2, Garski with the 3 out of our 13X. Oh my gosh. Moto 28, 9 experts out on the track. Peterson, Ray, Stopka, Simon, and Ostros. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Words are hard sometimes. Words are hard. That should be Style Check Peterson out on point for BMX Bandits with level up colors in that 2 spot. The Chrome Dome Stopka in that 3, making their way down that 4th straightaway. It's going to go Peterson with the 1, Ray the 2, Stopka the 3 out of our 9-year-old experts. 10 experts out on the track. Moto 29, we have Vanderheyden, Bell Richard, Albers, Boffman, and Brady. That's got to be Vanderheyden out there with his World's jersey on. He's leading the pack. We got Fusion in that 2. That's got to be Bauman. Bell Richard in that 3 spot. Albers in that 4 as they make their way into that 3rd corner. But it is Reed Vanderheyden with a nice breakaway. He's going to get the 1 today. Boffman's going to get the 2. Bell Richard's going to get the 3. Out of our 10-year-old experts. Moto 30 out on the track, 13 experts. Tyson, Melchert, Swanson, Wells, Molter, Hertz, and Oberg. That's got to be Tyson out on point, followed up by Melchert in that 2 spot. Swanson in the 3. Looks like Wells trying to make a move. He might take over that 3 spot. So it's going to go Tyson with the 1, Melchert with the 2, Wells with the 3 out of our 13 experts. 14 experts out on the track, Moto 31, Robusco, Lakinen, and Elin. Looks like Kenny E is back on her bike, so she should have her number. We got the number 4 bike, that's Lakinen out on point. Nice battle for 2, but Kenny E taking over. Robusco going to be in that 3 spot as they make their way down that 4 straightaway. It's going to go Lakinen with the 1, Kenny with the 2, and overall 2, and Robusco with that 3, and overall 3 out of our 14 experts. Last rack on this Saturday afternoon, Moto 32, 15 experts. We've got Ford, Mitchell, Miska, Bowman, Schaefer, and Henry. That's Jordan Bowman out point for Level Up Racing. Followed up, that's got to be Cameron Ford in that 2 spot. So it's going to be Bowman, Ford, and Miska. 1, 2, 3 out of our 15-year-old experts. That will do it for our Saturday racing. Please remember that we are 100% run by volunteers, so do us a favor, look around your area. Any garbage that you see, please pick it up for us. Let's try to keep our facility nice and clean. Remember, we do have racing going on tomorrow, registration from 11 to noon.